I hope you're having an excellent day today. Welcome to the Conquistador Podcast. My name is Mauricio Garcia, and you know that the one thing we do here in this podcast is try to deliver as much value to all those driven, determined dreamers. And if you are here, that's because you are a driven, determined dreamer. Today we have a very important topic. We're going to talk about, the importance of having a business and growing it in a formatted way, meaning have some sort of a business building format system. And who better to give us depth on this concept other than the legendary Hubert Humphrey, who is my friend, business partner, and is every single day here with us. So, Hubert, I salute you today. How do you do?
Doing great. Ready for a great week?
I am excited about it every single week. Excited for all the topics. There's a lot of value in every one of these podcasts. Let's jump right into it. I read a little short quote that, Ray Kroc, that everybody knows, right? The visionary, really, I don't know if we'll call him the founder of the McDonald's, but definitely the person that took the concept to and made that company be what it is today. He said that from the very beginning, he knew that he wasn't really in the business of hamburgers, but he was in the business of building McDonald's. I don't know if you could put that in better words, but it's just because sometimes we have we're looking at a business from a wrong optic, and so let's shed light, because you've built major, humongous companies by formatting things, by bringing some sort of a format system into the largest industry in the world, which is the financial industry.
Well, absolutely. In any endeavor for it to go from just a good idea, some romantic sounding idea, to someone being great in it and it being prosperous, deep down inside, something has to become systematized. There has to be a success system that causes the sequential unlocking of all the different success pieces in order. Whether it's in golf. Whatever it is, you've got, you had the U.S. Open golf tournament this past weekend, and the great golfers are the ones that have got a swing format system. They've got it down under pressure without thinking. And then there's a whole bunch of other golfers playing with them that really don't have that super success system down, and their swings are more unpredictable, they're more erratic, and they don't repeat enough to give them the success to have the championship. It's the same thing in business. Like Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile, but he came along and realized that, one, it was a great need to be able to have these things called automobiles, these horseless carriages. They needed to be built on a large scale where people could afford them and the masses could have a car. And he created an assembly line, literally a build-a-car format system is what he had. It was the assembly line and a mass production unit, and it was efficient. And that's why we even know about Ford. That's why we're driving the cars today on a large scale. Everybody's gotten one because of that. So those are industry changers. You mentioned Ray Kroc. Right. Ray Kroc, he knew, he had a lot of reasons why he knew his had to be perfect. One is that he knew there was a lot of competition out there for people to invest money in franchises. Franchises had already started when he started. He didn't invent franchises, but and he knew that he was going to depend on other people investing money in his businesses. That was the key. And to do it, he had to make his better than the others. He had to make his predictable, foolproof, profitable, and it had to work every time. And then he also knew that if he was going to do it where it was going to be on a mass scale and there were going to be McDonald's spread all over the United States and all over the world, that manning it, they were going 75% or so of the employees for McDonald's historically have been teenagers, who as big as about a 300% turnover. So he knew he had to have something systematized to absorb the teenagers and make it sort of idiot-proof, if you will.
Yep.
And also to be able to, when you're turning over that many people, and there are always new people coming in, it had to be systematized. And so that's why something has to be systematized to where the newest person can plug in and have an instant start and get started immediately, and there's not a long learning curve. That's why we hear that same quote that we used a lot of times for in the E-Myth book by Michael Gerber says for an ordinary person to do extraordinary things, they need a system, of some type of a formatted system to compensate for all the experience they haven't gained yet, the abilities they haven't developed yet, the knowledge, the money, all the things that it takes to be successful. That system is embedded in a system, and that's the key. That's the key. And turnkey. And even today, you look at automobiles. You, from way back today, you had to keep up with the key and find the slot and turn it in and crank. This day and age, you just get in now. They've got it. Just push a button and boom, cranks. Everything's turnkey. Everything means that most people have no idea what's under the hood of their cars anymore. They just get into the car. In fact, you don't even have to take your car to a garage mostly. You can just call them, tell them what's going on, and they've got a computer system that can kind of, with all the diagnostics, that can just adjust whatever's going on in your car with all its computer systems in there, and you're off and running. So everything has to be formatted today, And of course, I worked on the railroad for many years, and it had a railroad format system. It had 2 rails. And as long as that train stayed on that format system, those 2 rails, it could get to where it was going. But if something happened when those rails broke or derailed from the track, it couldn't get to where it was going anymore. It was derailed. So a track to run on, a predictable track to run on, is critical in any business. And in every facet of life, I just look. I was kind of looking at some of the notes we had from the original book that I wrote here, talking about way back in the day. There was the Industrial Revolution, and then there was the tech. Then along came this technology revolution here of the last 75 to 100 years, and of course super technology era now. But then we had the information era, and of course, and in all those eras, if there were not formatted systems, none of those things would have been successful. I think I've always been in the era of having a format system. That's what helped us build these. I mean, we revolutionized the largest industry in the world, the insurance and industry, and the securities industry, and the mortgage industry. We've aimed this system at all the major, and even in the real estate. We've aimed it over the years in every one of the big financial industries, and it's been able to help revolutionize all those industries. It's been able to attract people from all walks of life, new people, experienced people. It leveled the playing field, gave everybody an equal chance, and it's been very predictable. And now we're building our new company today, over this last 5 or 6 years, Hedgeman Group International, and we're using the same system. It's just fine-tuned, but boy, we've got like prospecting. Well, all of a sudden we've got social media now to harvest more prospects in addition to all the other ways we prospect. So we've got all this more modern technology, and we've got some more sophisticated products. But boy, that system never changes, and that's why we're talking to you today.
Very interesting. I think it's good for everybody to realize and analyze and see that everything that works close to perfectly is because it's got a formatted system behind it. Now, I find interesting you say, Ray Kroc didn't invent the franchise model, but he had seen it. Therefore, he had the vision when he found that little hamburger business, right? Putting out hamburgers within seconds, minutes. And so you are probably able to, just like Ray Kroc, you see a business as complicated or sophisticated as a business can be, because I don't know what would be more, interesting when it comes to regulated industry than the financial industry, right? One of the highest regulated industries, and yet by applying a formatted system, you go out there and beat the largest, most experienced companies ever existed in the financial world.
Well, it was because we were able to bring so many new people in. Up until we came along, and I brought sort of this system that I'd learned into the beginnings of A.L. Williams when there were only 30 people back in this was in January '78 when I kind of really I saw it in late '77, joining the first week or two of January of '78, and from that little scratch of business where he had just it distilled down to about a core of 30 people that were really active and strong, and we got into the game. They were missing a system. They had a crusade and a concept, and the conditions were right, and the window was open, the market window was open, everything was ready. For that message to be able to go viral, it needed a system. And I was able to take this little system here, and it caused us to go from just something in Georgia and Florida, Alabama, and all of a sudden we were able to format this thing and duplicate it all over the country, in every city, every town, every state, in Canada, every place. We were able to just, within 3 or 4 years, we were all over the country because the system brought in all these people. That's the first thing a system needs to do in our business, is to bring enough people in to be able to follow these little models. Since we were going to bring high volumes of people in, we had to have something formatted that could be transferred to them. It had to be duplicatable, very rapid duplicatable. It had to be assimilated. Because we built our business at the speed of assimilation of knowledge about not only the recruiting and building system, but knowledge of the industry, knowledge of how to get licensed, knowledge of how to go and do professional things for the consumer. All of that had to be formatted. And the great miracle of A.L. Williams, which is now Primerica, and the great miracle of WMA, which became World Financial Group Transamerica, those companies that we built with highly sophisticated products and licensing and heavily regulated, was that we were able to go in there and bring high volumes of people and have them adapted and formatted not only to sell, but to be able to know the industry and be able to be in compliance. So we had to have all of that duplicated, and that's what we did.
Yeah, there's a lot of different systems into one master system that has step by step. Well, I think anybody who is in business right now, like maybe Art Williams was in the early stages selling insurance, I kind of see it like those little stands selling hamburgers, and it wasn't until you bought in the system that it was able to be replicated all across the country, which I think you've mentioned in the show before. It resulted in over 10 million sales just in that operation through that formatted system. Is that right?
That's right. Over 10 million term insurance policies sold in the United States. When we started, there were about 100 million cash value policies were in force out there in the country throughout over many years, many companies doing that, and we went out there and did 10 million. We literally hit about 10% of the largest market in the world with a bunch of part timers and through that system. Of course, many of them became full timers, but that system is what caused us to be able to go out there and grab such a big market share and make such a giant impact on the industry. We didn't just grab market share. We literally changed the way the insurance industry sold its products.
Yeah,
we made them focus now on Middle America. We brought Wall Street sort of down to Main Street, and that was the beginning of a great revolution with that system. So it caused a lot of things.
Yeah, one of the things I also find interesting is that there's a lot of entrepreneurs, as an example, out there that give a lot of credit to their talents, right, to their hard working, the ability, and maybe those things are or could be important, but you give most of the credit to the system, to the format systems. Like, I didn't have any special talents, any special abilities per se. I worked hard, but it was mainly the system that made that happen. And so I repeat that because I want people listening today that if they've got a business and they don't have everything systematized, every single aspect somehow of their business in a predictable way of how things are going to grow or how they're supposed to be done, which is the formatted system, it's very unlikely that they can gain scale.
That's right. Scalability is critical in today's world and today's economy, and I mean, I've worked hard all my life, and been intense and hungry and focused and just felt like I could conquer the world. But if I didn't have a system, it would have all been for naught. And I know lots of other people that are out in businesses that work hard and are dedicated to their businesses, but they don't have it where it's they don't have a duplicatable, scalable operation. They don't have a system. They do a lot of things, but they never repeat the successful things over and over and over. You got to have that cookie cutter exactness. Is what you got to have.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you from experience, when I first joined the financial industry, it's just get your license and go out there sales. No system. Is whatever your abilities, whatever you can discover. And that's why there's so many people that enter not just the financial industry, but other industries that they'll going out there selling the product versus understanding that they have to be like working on a business versus then in a business. But that's a new topic that we can elaborate on a different podcast. But
the one thing I will say, Mauricio, is that if you get somebody that's in our system that sort of aligns itself with our type of a system, and it's very simple system. Mm-hmm. And if somebody will align them and they have that work ethic, they're hardworking, industrious, put all the effort and energy in a system. They're the ones that become the superstars of this industry, the superstars of our company. We got a bunch of guys out there that become very, very successful, making lots of money out there. I mean, we're talking about we got today some of them still make $8 and $10 million a year off of a system that we plugged into them 25 or 30 years ago. And I'm just telling you that wasn't, it was a system, but then other people had our system, but they were so industrious and so vision stretched and motivated and ambitious inside the system. That's the key. So we ask all these people, you mentioned driven, determined dreamers. If you're a driven, determined dreamer without a system, we admire you for your hard work and drive, and we want you to succeed. But you go take driven, determined dreamer and put them into a highly duplicatable success system like we have, a turnkey format system. All of a sudden, you want to become a superstar. You want to separate yourself from the other people out there. Yeah. Then you really do something big.
Yeah, as good as a seed can be, if it's not planted in the right environment and it's not in the right place to grow, it's just not going to grow with all this potential. And I think that's what the system can do. So we'll wrap it up for today, Hubert. A lot of value, and I do want to remember everybody to go and check out the #1 sponsor of this program that has the best opportunity in America today. It's Hegemon Group International. Why? Because if you are looking to reach financial success, if you want to become a millionaire, don't take just my word for it. There is the World Wealth Report and many, many, many different serious publications out there that can tell you that the industry that is more likely to help you reach financial independence is getting involved in the financial industry. And the only company that's revolutionized that industry for 4 decades in a row by utilizing a formatted system is Hubert Humphrey, who is the architect of the system. And so you have to check out what he's doing now with the Hegemon Group International company movement by going to hciopportunity.com. Do yourself a favor. Go check it out. It's a 10 to 15-minute presentation there, and you'll see what we're talking about here and why you can take those dreams, you can take that determination, apply it in the system, and conquer your future. Thanks for listening to this podcast today. We'll see you on the next one. Hubert, as always, thank you so much. Have a great day, sir. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, see you guys later.
Warning, this podcast may change the way you think about business, entrepreneurship, and money forever. The Conquistador Podcast was created for dreamers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who want to conquer their future. To be an epic entrepreneur, you must adopt the right mental paradigms as well as master the art of selling, marketing, and finance.